Hello, and I want to ask you a question. Are you acting like a service provider when you should be acting like an expert? Let's find out, shall we? I've found that the only way to really achieve freedom is when you are seen as an expert in your field. What do I mean by that? I help service providers, but I don't want you to act like a service provider. What am I talking about? Let me give you an example. How would you feel if you had an odd pain in your leg and you walked into the doctor's office and he said, what do you think is wrong with it? What do you want me to do? Should I bandage it up, or do you want me to cut it open? Or how would you feel if your doctor said that to you? Not very safe and trusting. You'd probably leave right then and there. We don't like that. How would you feel if you called the plumber because your toilet was overflowing and you walked in and saw it overflowing and said, yeah, you got a problem here. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to snake it, or should I plunger it, or do you want me to take the toilet off? What do you want me to do? You wouldn't like that very much either, would you? No, because these are people who we go to them to solve a problem of ours, and we look at them as the experts. We don't know how to do this. We don't know how to fix my leg or how to fix my toilet. You do. That's why I hired you. And you know what? We pay these people relatively the big bucks to solve our problem as quickly as possible. And we don't tell them how to do it. But when you are a service provider, you are not acting like an expert. You are the doctor coming in and saying, what do you want me to do about that? Do you want me to bandage it up? Let me give you an example. This is how I used to be when I was acting like a service provider. Somebody would say, hey, I need a new website and brand. Can you help me out? I'd say, sure. What do you like? Tell me, what colors do you like? Can you show me things that you like, and what do you want it to be? And what pages would you like on your website? Okay, so then I would write a proposal with everything that they told me, and then they'd hire me. And then we would make 10, 20 different logos, and we'd send them a PDF full of logos, and we'd say, what do you think? And then they'd say, oh, I like number 3 and number 8, and I like 10 and 11 and 12. Can you mash these two together? Can I see that one in that color? And I'd like to see this one in 4 different colors. And I'd say, okay, great, let me do that. And then we'd go back and we'd work their visions. Okay, what do you think of these? And then we'd show them a whole bunch more, and they'd say, yeah, I like those a lot. I like this one and maybe that one, but can you put these together? And on. I was acting like a service provider. I was the hands. That's what I call them. When you're a service provider, you are the hands. Somebody is hiring you to do the work as they see fit. And that is the opposite of being hired as an expert, to come in and say, hey, you need a new brand? Let me ask you some questions and then tell you what your brand needs to be. That's what an expert does. They say, tell me about your problems and let me tell you what the solution is. Not, hey, what's your problem? What's your solution? And I'll do it for you. The reason this is so critical is because when you're operating like a service provider, when you're the hands, you're basically at the mercy of the person hiring you. You're essentially an outsourced employee. I don't know about you, but I did not go into business for myself to be an employee to other people. I'm my own boss. I didn't want to actually have clients as bosses. If you're a service provider and you're the hands, that's what you are, because you're doing whatever they say. As an expert, you are the boss of your domain and business. If you're a service provider, usually you're operating under the assumption that the client is always right. Have you ever felt like that or heard that? Do you feel like the client is always right? Whatever the client says, that's what I need to do. That's what service providers do. Service providers are always bending over backwards to please and do whatever the client says because they want to keep them happy. Experts are okay with not necessarily painting the rosy picture. In fact, experts are brought in to tell you the hard truth. I have been brought into companies where they tell me, Pia, I'd like to hire you to redo our website. Our logo is fine. This is fine. We just need a website. When I was a service provider, I'd say, great, here's the website I can build for you, and then I would just build it. Once I crossed over into expert, I would say, oh, really? Hold on a second. Let me ask you a few more questions about why you're trying to redo this website in the first place. Tell me more about your business. Tell me more about your situation. I'll determine whether or not your logo is still going to fly based on the whole situation, based on all the problems you're trying to solve. And I'll tell you if just a new website is going to help you or not, because I'm bringing knowledge to the table that you don't have. And it's not to knock clients. Let's not think that this is because clients don't know anything. Of course they do. My clients are business owners. They are badass at what they do. That's just it. They're badass at what they do. They're not experts. They're not experts at branding, at website posts that convert, at design, at messaging. That's my domain. That's why they're hiring me. That's the mentality that I want you to have when you are building your business. You need to come from a position of expert. I have information that's valuable and I'm going to share it with you, not what do you need me to do? Jump how high? That's what I used to say when I was a service provider. How high would you like me to jump? Would you like me to do it on a Friday night? Would you like me to make your edits on Saturday morning as a service provider? What else sucks about service providers? Service providers have a cap on their income. I'll be really straightforward about that. You cannot make more than a certain amount of money when you are acting like a service provider because you are usually charging hourly. In order to make more money, you have to work more hours. That's what service providers do. They're trading time for money. Experts sell based on value. Experts are not concerned as much and do not communicate as much how many hours they're going to take because the hours are irrelevant. Let's go back to our plumber example. I always use the plumber example because I'll never forget the day years ago when I had to have my tub snaked and the guy came in and charged me $200 and he was there for 10 minutes. I couldn't believe it, but it was totally worth it because you know what? Our tub was clogged and he came quickly and he fixed it. Why would I care that it took him 10 minutes? Do I need him to spend 2 hours doing that to be worth $200? 10 minutes, 2 hours, 10 minutes? I don't care. I just want the tub fixed. And that's how people feel when they hire experts. I don't care how long it takes you. Get me the solution that I'm looking for. And that's how I feel about being an expert in branding and design. Does it matter to the client if you spent 100 hours on this logo or 10 minutes? What does it matter? If the logo's the right logo, who cares? And that's what experts know. And you can't manufacture this. If you have to actually be confident in your abilities and knowledge in order to present as an expert, but I attract badasses who do know what they're doing. So their problem usually, and this might be you if you're acting like a service provider, their problem is that they're not aware of the fact that they're presenting themselves like that. And they're not aware of the fact that they're undervaluing what they have to offer because they're not positioning themselves as an expert. Okay, I'm gonna say that's all for today because I want you to really look at your process and see if you're acting like the hands, like a service provider, and how you can move to being seen as an expert, because only when you're seen as an expert can you charge based on value and not based on time. And only when you can charge based on value can you increase your prices exponentially. And only when you increase your prices to a highly profitable mark can you achieve freedom. Until you hit a certain price point, you will never achieve freedom in your life because you will always have your income tied to how many hours you work.